funky. Uh-huh.
Wow. Welcome to TBCN Unplugged. My name is John, and we're here with the boss. Not Bruce Springsteen, but the boss of Tampa Bay Community Network.
Oh, hi. Hi, John.
It's been tough to get you on this show because you're so busy.
I'm busy, yes.
And important and
an introvert. Just say it.
And
I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
Okay.
But right before the podcast, Antonia McCutcheon, the executive director of Tampa Bay Community Network, asked me, "Is this going to be like 10 minutes?" And I was like, "No, it's an hour." She's like, "What?" So we'll see how it goes. It might be 10 minutes. It might be an hour.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
John said that I could just be like, "Okay, I'm done," and take off my headphones.
Right. You can just drop the mic and get out of here. So.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, this is now the fourth show we did. We're doing with this series, and everybody I've had on my show I've known pretty well. So it should just be like two friends having a conversation, should it not?
I agree,
okay.
And that's what I'm expecting.
Right, because I'm not going to interrogate you. But however, I did. I cheat. Let's face it, AI is our friend.
Yes.
So I did go to ChatGPT, and it generated some interesting questions that I am going to try and ask.
Oh, gosh. Okay, that's okay. I mean, what? We might as well. What else are we going to do?
Right? Yeah. So,
okay.
So the first question is, tell us a bit about your journey at TBCN, at Tampa Bay Community Network, and how you ended up becoming the executive director.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Once upon a time, back in the old days. No. So it started out, I was a member of Student Broadcasting Association over at USF, and I always wanted to be on television. And even though I wasn't a communications major, I still wanted to do something at USF, and we started the very first USF student-run show called Bull Vision.
Okay.
And it was very exciting, and we needed somewhere to air it. Well, first we needed somewhere to edit it because the edit bays there were constantly booked with students who were actually doing projects for class. So
this is back in the linear editing days, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is back in the days when it was like 3/4-inch tapes. And,
oh boy.
I call them the Fred Flintstone tapes. They were like this big.
Yeah.
So I had met someone who was a part of public access and recommended that we go down to the station. We could use the editing equipment. Everything is free. And then we could also air it over, out on the channels, the cable channels at the time. And that's what we did. It was exciting. We finished it. We aired it. And then I just kind of stuck around because the atmosphere was totally my kind of atmosphere. And I made friends with everybody and all the trainers back then. And then one day, the studio manager just came up to me. His name was Brian Lacey. And he said, "Hey, do you just want a job here? We're looking for a liaison."
Just like that.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I'm tired of waitressing. So I started as a trainer, believe it or not. A lot of people think I started at the front desk, although I did not transition. I was kind of doing a little of everything. Yeah. But I actually got more hours at front desk because they needed front desk person. So I did front desk and training for a long time. And then a full-time position opened up in master control. And so I just kind of slid myself in.
You slid in.
I slid in.
I
was like,
sliding in.
I slide in. I'm very slithery. Anyway, so I just slid in. I took the full-time position because, I wanted money. Yeah. Then from there, I kind of stayed as the programming manager for many, many, many years. But of course, being a nonprofit, you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of needs, and we're never going to be fully staffed because, the money isn't there. So I started just doing all kinds of things and helping because that's how I am. I'm just a person who likes to. I'm very nosy.
Yes, you are very nosy.
So I like to be, oh, do you want me to help with that? And next
Yeah.
thing you know, I'm like doing all these things. And as the years went on, I at one point I was, I was told by our previous executive director, Louise Thompson, well, it looks like you're going to follow in my footsteps because it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay. And then, after a few years, she retired and I became executive director.
And that was like a little over a year ago?
It was almost 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, it'll be 2
Okay.
years in July.
Okay, wow.
Yep. So,
So-
that it was my journey.
So it's been a long journey, but
yes,
yeah.
a slithery
A slithery journey. And you had originally no intention of getting into the business, really.
Well, I wanted, okay. I actually did want to be in the television business.
Okay.
But when I was in college, I kept changing my major because I also love animals.
Yeah.
So then I thought, oh, well, I want to become a zoologist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started on that trek, but still doing student broadcasting for fun.
Yeah.
But then, I found out that calculus and chemistry is definitely not for me.
Yeah, it's not for every. Same here. Same here.
So I didn't end up doing that. But yeah, being in television was always part of one of my goals.
It's kind of in your blood.
It's in my blood. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you too. I know, because I've known you just almost as long as I've been at the station.
Yeah,
So because
yeah.
you've been here, well, you.
I keep turning up like a bad penny.
You do. We're like it's John again.
Oh, John,
Hi, John.
you're back. Hi, John. You stick around for a little while this time, John?
Yeah.
How many producers and how many shows would you think at that time would have been on the air, 24, 25 years ago?
I mean, honestly, 40 to 50.
40 to 50, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like a revolving door of
A
people.
revolving door. They had to, there was just so many slots, so they had to pick numbers,
Yeah.
and we had to do like a lottery thing.
I can remember walking. It would be like almost like a community center.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a
Great-
community center.
Great place to meet people. Great place to network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of people too,
All walks of
from
life.
all walks of life,
Yeah.
and miraculously they got along.
Yeah, all different types of shows.
Yeah.
And
They would help each other on their shows. We had
right.
a Christian lady who had a Christian show who actually crewed on an atheist
Sure.
program,
Yeah.
and they helped her.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, their beliefs. There was just a sense of community,
Right.
and it was really wonderful. But things were different back then. We didn't have the internet. There was no YouTube,
Right.
so there was a huge need to be able to air your shows somewhere.
Yeah. Freedom of you had
The freedom of
You had the
speech.
freedom of speech, and
Yeah.
and YouTube wasn't around yet. The internet
Yeah.
was just kind of
It was
getting,
yeah.
yeah.
It was just beginning, and
You had America Online, and
yeah.
that was
and we
it-
were fully funded, so
Yeah.
everything was free.
yeah.
Everything was free, and it was truly a joyous time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then, what changed? And I think I know the answer, but
Yeah.
there probably a lot of things, and for a lot of different public access stations, things changed in different ways. But
Exactly.
But what particularly changed at TBCN?
Well, the internet changed it.
Yeah.
So, that was first and foremost. But that wasn't the main reason why we first got defunded. The main reason was because there was a producer who, took full advantage of free speech.
Well, it wasn't just one. Let's just say there
But
were
there was the
many.
one
There was the one that really made
That-
people mad.
that made a county commissioner look
Yeah.
and be like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't like this. And basically, he had nudity and all kinds of stuff, which he could. It was free speech.
Yeah.
And we had
Puppet shows and
Yeah.
dirty puppet shows.
And there was a new county commissioner who didn't appreciate that stuff and didn't really understand who we were.
Yeah.
So when it came time to, renewing our funding, she got votes for us to be defunded. And it was based off of the content. And it was very loud and clear. She made it known. So we lost our funding, but because we are protected by the First Amendment, we took it to court. and we took it to
Yes.
federal court. And of course, the judge.
Oh, it went to federal court.
It went to federal court.
Wow.
Yeah. And we won because it was obvious that's why we got defunded.
Mhm.
I mean, she said it straight out.
Yeah.
They were ordered to give us our funding back. But the following year, she was a little bit more clever, and instead of saying it's because of the content, she said it's because we want to give the money to fire stations and other places, which the money really wasn't for those things. It was allocated for us.
Right.
So she pretty much just made it up, and we lost our funding once again, and there was nothing we could do about it. But at the same time that was happening, the internet was becoming, bigger and better.
Yeah. YouTube came out in like
came
2005.
out
and
yeah. Not that people weren't still wanting to be on cable channels, because we have, 5 different cable channels. So and of course, people still had cable, so it was very important. And there was a huge audience for cable, and it still is. Whereas, YouTube, the internet, it was still in its, infant stages.
Right.
So, but, there was people who were like, okay, I'm just going to have my own YouTube show. And because we had lost funding, we were starting to charge a little bit. We had no choice.
Right.
The funding wasn't there. So they're like, okay, well, we don't want to pay, so now I'd rather be on YouTube.
That was a big deal. That
was a big deal.
That kind of changed the playing field a little bit.
It did.
When people had to start paying,
Yeah.
they realized there was other ways to get their their word out, and so that's when a lot of people went to YouTube, or just stopped doing their shows.
Or just stopped went to YouTube. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we begged for our money back. Every year, please give us our money back. Every year, please give us our money back.
Give us our money back. Hey!
And the problem was exactly that. They would say, listen, there's other avenues now for people.
Yeah.
There's no point in us giving you money when people can use YouTube.
Right.
And that was a harsh reality. That was a harsh reality. So even today, and fast forward to today, it's hard to tell someone, say, hey, watch my public access show. It's on at 8:00 on Friday night. Right.
Nobody. People want to watch it
on YouTube.
They want it on demand.
They want it on demand.
So it's with technology. I think that's part of it too.
I agree. I agree.
It's not just YouTube, but with technology in general.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that the channels aren't valuable. They still are. People still watch us on those channels. As a matter of fact, we have a synagogue that goes live every Friday night, and you know about this.
Yeah.
From their synagogue to our cable channels, because half of their congregation doesn't know how to use a computer.
Yeah.
Doesn't know how to get onto YouTube, doesn't understand the streaming, and they prefer to watch it.
For them, it's easy just to turn on the channel, and just because that's what they're used to.
Right.
Yeah.
So cable isn't obsolete yet.
No.
The channels are still valuable.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that we need both.
Right.
We need the internet. We need to be able to, distribute our shows across the internet, and we also still need the cable channels, because people still want to only watch on cable.
Right.
As we made the transition to the internet, including all of our classes, now you can take all of our classes online as well, we realized something. The internet is mostly video. So what that means is most people want to get their information via video, and it's growing.
Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a camera in their cell phone.
Exactly.
It just makes sense.
Exactly. So that's what we realized. We realized that video owns the internet.
Yeah.
And if you are a business and you don't have video in your marketing repertoire, you're going to miss out on 80% of whoever is perusing the internet.
Yeah.
It's just a fact, and those are and that's proof, and it's growing. 5 years ago, that was 80%, And now it's at around 83% of what is occurring on the internet is video.
Wow.
And we realized, hey, that's pretty important.
Right.
And we decided this is where we're important. Because without video, what are you going to do? So we decided to focus on our training.
Right.
Focus on training and focus on getting people trained so that they can do video either for their own businesses or get hired to do video for other businesses. It's been very successful, and video industry is still growing, and there's many jobs out there.
And
despite
right.
where it's airing, the jobs are there. It's a very lucrative career, and that's what our focus is now, is on training. Also, people can, as you know, hire us to do video for them at a very minimal price.
Not too minimal.
Not too minimal, but it compared to for-profit production houses, we're way inexpensive.
Absolutely.
And we're fulfilling that need.
Yeah.
There's a need in that aspect, as businesses and nonprofits and even individuals need our help, assistance in making these videos. And then there's the people who want to train and make careers out of it.
And the city and the county recognize that.
They recognize it.
And now we're funded for training.
And now we're funded for training. The city gave us back half of our funding, as well as the county. We're not funded like we used to be years ago.
Right. We're also not staffed like we used to.
No, we're not staffed like we used to be. Luckily, the city and the county now find us extremely valuable and understand what we do.
And we train hundreds of people every year.
It averages out to about a couple hundred people a year. Yeah.
And many of them go and get careers in the business.
Yes, and absolutely.
And almost every person that I've had on this show has had some kind of public access exposure, and they've gotten work out of public access or training or some type of.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people who own production houses now, who own video production companies, started out at public access and got their training. And and like I said, it's not just the training, but it's the networking.
Yeah.
Because we're all in the business.
Yeah.
You've been in the business, I don't know how many years.
Long time.
Since the 80s or something.
Something like that.
So you know where the jobs are.
Yeah.
And you've actually found jobs for people.
I have.
And then we're also connected with Career Source Tampa Bay, who assists people with getting their resumes together and finding jobs as well. So we're very successful at that, and I'm very proud of it.
I get people all the time that kind of ask me, how can I get a job, a career in, because there are people that, some people come here, they take the classes, and they're like, okay, where's my job?
Right.
Right. And it doesn't work that way. It's not that simple. It's the same thing with, even if you go to a 4-year college.
Right.
Right. You can't just graduate college and say, okay, where's my job?
Right.
You got to pay your dues. You got to intern. You have to volunteer. Volunteering is a big deal.
Right.
And if you're lucky enough to get a paid gig, even if it's, minimum wage, take it, because that's how you get your foot in the door in a lot of companies.
Exactly.
And then you get a reel, and then people say, oh, this person's pretty good. I will hire them.
Right.
But and I have people all the time that just want, well, I don't want to volunteer. I just want a job.
Right.
And it
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way in most businesses, but more so in this business, because there's so many people that want to do this for a living. Right. And there's so much competition. I remember applying at a news station, and I had a resume just like everybody else. Right. But for some reason they chose me, and they said, you were chosen out of 95 resumes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, well, wow, thanks.
Yeah. Did you ask them why?
They just kind of
your experience.
My experience, but a lot of people had experience, but I just interviewed well.
You interviewed well too, yeah.
So, and I mean,
because personality does matter.
Personality goes a long way in this business as well.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I found out very quickly that news wasn't my cup of tea.
Your cup of tea. Yeah.
You know, and I actually tried it twice.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I went back to it, and I was like, why did I come back to this? This isn't what I want to do. You know.
So here you are with us.
Yeah.
With the crazy people.
Yeah. You know, I do creative things outside of here too.
Yeah.
You know, and I do sports. I love doing sports, but yeah, this is kind of where what I was, you know,
You were looking to do what you were meant to do.
I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people ask me, oh, have you done films? Or, you know, it's like, not really. I've just done public access.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody finds their niche.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So, and as you have.
Exactly.
You know, have you worked on films?
I have.
Well, a few,
but not as a videographer or a camera person. I worked as a line producer.
Okay.
So, and also I worked with the talent.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
It is. Long days.
Long days.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'll just stick with my public access.
Yeah. I did craft services. That was kind of fun. I like feeding people.
You like feeding people,
I did that.
Yeah. Well, that works, yeah.
And I've been a production assistant and that, and which is very behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, you may have to go pick up laundry for talent and things like that.
Right.
So I've dabbled in film. I've dabbled in
but not as like a producer or director, just like the behind the scenes.
And that's the thing too with film, with working on a movie set. I mean, you really have to pay your dues.
You do.
You could be a production assistant for 20 years and never even get behind a camera.
Exactly.
You know, so it's a very tough, very, very tough business to get into film, especially
for sure.
You know,
for sure.
But TV jobs, there's a lot.
That's the thing, and I know what you were saying about the competition, because it sounds like we're contradicting each other, but just for me to clarify, it's a very lucrative career. The jobs are there, okay? The thing is, like you said, you can't just graduate from these classes and get a job. You have to get experience, because there's things that you can only learn with experience.
Absolutely.
As you know.
Yeah.
So you know, we offer our students to come back and volunteer with us to continue getting that experience and continue learning. And that's really what's going to help you get a job. So the more you volunteer or, work on your own projects, when you go to get a job, they'll see what you've done. They'll see that you understand how to be a producer or how to be a videographer, and you will get hired. But yeah, you're not gonna just pop up and say, hey, give me a job, and they're gonna be like, okay, like, what's your experience? What do you know? Like, show me a reel,
Personality and enthusiasm goes a long way
this
business. Like in a lot of businesses, but especially in this business.
You have to be enthusiastic. Yeah. You can't half-ass it. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah, I think you can. This is public access. By the way, this is Sergio.
That's right. We didn't introduce Sergio.
No, we didn't.
Rude of us.
Hi, people.
He's our audio engineer. Usually I do this, but I was like, well, it's a lot easier to talk and not have to watch levels.
It's true.
So hopefully this is turning out okay.
And Sergio is very good with
Sergio's
stuff
kind
like
of in training here.
Sergio Velasquez, is our outreach coordinator, or as he calls himself, the outreach specialist.
Oh, that's even better.
I love the specialist part.
It's always good to put specialists in your title, even if you're not.
We were joking. Remember, we were joking about that. We're like, let's all be specialists. I'm the executive specialist.
Oh, I'm not a specialist. I'm just a manager.
You could be the production specialist.
Production manager specialist.
Production specialist. No, you take away the manager and you put specialist.
I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, well, I'll have to think about that.
So Sergio's has been a very vital part of our team. We're so happy he's with us. He actually left he was a student. He left to go up north for a bit and came back, and he's like, hey, I need a job. And we're like, okay, good. We're moving right now. Pick up a box.
Yeah. Actually, let's talk about that. How many we've moved a couple times now since we've both been working here. So like I said, back in the day. We started out at University of Tampa, which was, what we had there was very special.
It was great.
It was, we had 3 studios, and we were funded back then, and we had about what 12 people on staff, or
it was about 12.
Something like
it
that.
actually was, I think, a little bit more.
Maybe
yeah,
even
between
more.
12 and 15.
Yeah. And people, like a revolving door of people just coming in and taking classes, and it was a big deal. And then UT, among other things, UT decided that they needed the space, and we had to look.
They actually demolished the building, which they should have. As much as I loved our space, we had our 3 studios. It was a very old building.
Yeah.
And there was like spiders everywhere. There was like rats everywhere. We tried, and me being an animal lover, it was hard. But like I would sit at my desk with my feet crossed.
I remember that.
Because I'd feel like I don't want a rat or a spider to crawl up my my pants.
Yeah, I remember finding things in my coffee.
Yeah. Because it was such an old building.
Yeah. And actually, we've been at the University Mall here, which is going also into a transition.
Yes.
And we've been here for, 12 years?
13 years,
13 years in the mall, and we've actually, now we're in a different space in the mall.
Yes.
But, yeah, let's talk about what's going on here, because I think it's going to change the way we do things as well as this whole area, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of people know about the University Mall, and it used to be a full-fledged mall, and it is in a transition. It's now known as Rhythm Uptown, and it's basically going to be like a tech hub, among other things. There's gonna be
less
specialty
retail, more.
Yeah, specialty shops, a lot of techie stuff going on. RD Management and Soaring City, which is a nonprofit, and they have a lot of plans for this mall, and a lot of it's already occurred.
Yeah,
a lot of changes have happened.
Yeah.
We have apartment complexes around. We now have Sprouts.
Yeah.
And it actually no longer says University Mall out in the sign. It actually says Rhythm Uptown.
How do you spell that?
It's actually RITHM. So there's a lot that's going to be happening uptown, and it's not just the mall, but all of Fowler Avenue. They have plans.
They're going to boulevard it. And,
yes.
Yeah.
And
there's going to be hotels, and
it's just going to be the place to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be the place to be.
As well it should be, because we're right by the university.
Mm-hmm.
And they're building a football stadium.
For a
USF.
lot of cool things are happening up here.
Yeah.
And we want to be a part of it. We are already part of the Soaring City Innovation Partnership, which we're very proud of. There's AmRock in the building, and The View, and of course, our favorite people, Astronaut Studios.
Yes.
Yes. With Steve and Brian and Kyle.
Yep.
We love all those guys. Steve's actually one of our board members, and he has been nothing but short of amazing.
And you could see an interview with Steve on our YouTube channel and on our channels.
Yes.
But our YouTube channel is Tampa Bay Community Network. Just search it on YouTube, and you'll see all these great shows that we produce.
Yes. And we, like you said, we recently did a show on Steve. His name is Steve Buno, and he is an amazing individual. He's been in the industry for many, many years. He's worked on a lot of high-end stuff. He's worked with Elon Musk, and he just came back from Hawaii. And he's just this incredible human being who has taken us under his wing and has given us a lot of love.
Yes, he has.
And a lot of who we are today is because of him. So thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
We're not exactly sure what direction the mall is going to be heading. They still have a lot of things that are up in the air. Like we're not sure if they're going to be demolishing this side of the mall or not. And we may have to move again. So there's still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of unknowns.
That part of it's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
We think we'll be here in a year, but 3 or 4 or 5 years, we're not sure.
We're not sure.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's how innovation happens. It's never a direct path, but there's some wonderful people who are leading the way and who are extremely intelligent and smart about these things, like Mark Sharp and Chris Bowen, who is just, that man's mind is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just listening to him talk about all the plans that he has for Uptown. And so we have a lot of good things happening up here. We want to remain to be a big part of it.
Absolutely. So one thing I ask this with everybody. What advice would you give somebody not just wanting to get into public access, but to get into video production?
I mean, first and foremost, take the training here.
Yeah.
It honestly
Absolutely.
doesn't get better than this.
It's free for Hillsborough County residents.
There's no other place like us in Florida.
That's true.
Our training is hands-on. I mean, we're a real TV station.
Yeah.
You're learning the real stuff. So take the training here and then, study on your own.
Yeah.
Study about cameras. Take a camera out and practice. Practice editing. Practicing and honing in on your skills is really a big deal because, like I said before, that sometimes there's things you can't just learn in one class.
Right.
It takes experience and practice to figure out these little things that come up. So practice, and then
and you don't learn editing. You don't take 3 classes and say, okay, I'm an editor now.
No, and we wouldn't expect someone to learn editing and.
Although some people pick it up real quick.
Some people do.
Some
pick it up
people it takes longer.
Exactly.
It took me a long time.
Exactly. But our classes are there just as a foundation to start.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as you're editing, give us a call. Hey, I have a question. Yeah, give Raven Ford a call, who's our training manager. We don't just give you the classes and say, okay, bye.
Okay, yeah, take it easy.
We're still here for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You have any questions? Ask us. You know what I mean? You're welcome to come and practice.
And crew.
And
we have lots of things you can volunteer for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, we do a lot of networking here with, other production houses. I mean, we are partnered with Astronaut Studios, which is just a couple of doors down from here.
Every once in a while, the View invites us in, too.
Be here for those kind of networking events because that's where you might talk to the right person who's going to get you that job. So that's a big thing, is to network and go to these events where they're networking. Get to know the people in the industry.
Absolutely. And actually, I was going to ask Sergio, there's a lot of networking events that we have here. And do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Definitely. And can I say a student's name?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right, so Jimmy came to the astronaut production. So we coordinated a networking event with TBCN, Tampa Bay Film Circle, Astronaut Productions. And Jimmy, one of our students, came in, took a class first week, decided to go to one of our networking events, met a gentleman named Chris Plurd, and got a contract doing gig work at Raymond James Stadium and I think the 98 Rock Fest. So
like as a utility?
So one of them, he was actually doing mascot work.
Oh, wow.
So he has a background in acting.
Okay.
So he was able to be a mascot, and then the other one was a part of the network and market team.
Okay.
So because he's also an actor, and it translates to network and marketing acting.
Sure.
Being able to put on a show for people. So literally, came to our classes, came to one of our events, and literally got some gigs. And then I believe you even helped him get some more work too.
Yeah.
And then I know you also helped Ray get work as well. So we do these network events like once every quarter, so 4 times a year. We'll try to do something for the not just students, but it's open to the public. It's open to specifically industry professionals. And
also the improv stuff that we
and
do.
the
The improv class, which is fabulous.
And then a gentleman went to improv class, and he was a comedian. He used our improv class to practice his performance, and now he has a monthly gig doing improv work with a improv group.
Look at that.
It's just.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
The list goes on.
Yeah, it just goes on and on. I mean, honestly, there's just something really special about this place.
Yeah.
It just functions so well. There's the atmosphere is so positive. People come here not knowing what to expect, and we actually do more than they would have even imagined through our networking, through our classes, just who we are, and the people that come in here who we know from different organizations. It's just this big community.
It's a big
that-
melting pot.
It's like a big melting pot.
It's like Tampa Bay had a community network.
Oh my God. Yeah, and it's really special here. It really is. I mean, wouldn't you guys agree?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's evolved, but it's evolved in a good way.
Exactly.
You know, and it's, may I say, it's no longer controversial.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
and a lot of people, when they hear the word public access, sometimes it's negative.
Right.
You know, but it's not anymore. It's not like
anymore.
that anymore.
No, it's not. It's a very positive atmosphere. People.
Not that we're taking away anybody's freedom of speech. No,
not at all. Not at all. But that's not where the focus is anymore.
Right,
The
right.
focus is on our training, our networking, our community,
Yeah.
and helping each other. We help each other in so many ways. He helped a comedian with his during his improv class,
Yep.
which Sergio teaches that class, and it's a fabulous class. So I mean, it's just a place that keeps on giving.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, you guys do a great job. You know.
Oh,
Thanks.
Like,
well,
yeah.
you do too. You're part of the team.
Yeah, Sergio actually is a big part of helping us find grants,
Exactly.
which keeps us going.
Which keeps us
you
going.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a really important
It's
job
very
here.
important
Yeah.
because we need
Everybody's
funding.
everybody's job here is, you know, it just kind of
Very
it
valuable,
works. Somehow it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sergio found a grant that's been around for 20 years. I had no idea about. It was like hidden. Somehow he found it. He slithered and found it. He slithered.
Slithery. He's a slithery guy.
And he found it, and it looks like we're gonna get it. So thank you, Sergio, and we're very excited. And yeah, it's
Along that note, guys, we are a 501c3 nonprofit.
Exactly.
Under a tax exemption, tax
Yeah.
deductible. So if you would like to donate to us,
Thank you for
you.
bringing
shameless
that up.
plug.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Shameless.
And anything helps. Like even if someone donated $20,
Yeah.
I mean that's like
That's like, you know, snacks
Like
for the crew.
or snacks for the crew
Yeah.
because we do give snacks to the crew because you know they need refreshments.
Or your time. So, like, we
Yeah,
have
or
industry
your
professionals
time.
come on one of our industry events, do a seminar. We had a stunt choreo, a gentleman named Hunjay Park. He's now going to be in Cobra Kai. So he literally did our improv class.
Yeah.
Taught a stunt choreo seminar, and then he literally flew to New York.
Yeah.
To go, do
That
stunt
was a fun
coordination.
class.
And,
Everybody
So,
enjoyed that class thoroughly.
And people get
Yeah.
value of how do you bridge the gap between, wanting to get on set and actually getting on set, and how do
Yeah.
you demystify some of
Yeah.
these barriers? And that's why, your time is very, very valuable. If you want to come
Yeah.
and, do a seminar with us, that'd be
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's cool. And then you mentioned something that not that I forgot about it, but your love for animals.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
tell us about that a little bit.
I think I was also born with that
Yeah.
because, my family, they like animals, but not like me. It's, it's like beyond,
I like animals too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but I take it to the next
take it to the
level.
next level.
Exactly. As a kid, I'd be outside. I'd see a little hurt bird. I mean, I'd be like 4 years old, and I'd bring this bird inside. And I'd be like, "Ma," and she'd be like, "Oh my God, what am I supposed to do with this bird?" I've just always loved animals and always wanted to take care of them. So, and I do. And I'm with a rescue. I'm with Forever Yours Pet Rescue, and I foster. Not at the moment, but I have fostered. I have done events. Just wherever I could to help.
You have a few pets of your own?
Just a couple.
Just a few.
All right. I have 6 cats and a dog. Okay.
Okay.
But I used to have 7 cats, so we're trying to take.
We can't call you the crazy cat lady because you also have dogs.
Right, but I also
Right.
have a husband, so
Okay.
it kind of evens everything out. And then we have a 2-story house,
Yeah.
so kind of spreads everything out.
Yeah. and a backyard.
And a backyard too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago, I got a knock on the door at 9:30 at night, and yes, it was like that. Yeah. And I also have the ring, so it was like someone's at your door. Anyway, so I opened it, and there's a woman there, and she's like, "Hi, you don't know me. I'm your neighbor, but I found a cat, and someone told me that you're the cat rescuer. And
Who told you that?
I know. I was like, what? It's supposed to be a secret. And then she's like, and here's this cat. And she like hands me this mangy cat.
Oh.
Like, it has no fur on it. God only knows why. It's like starving to death. It has like no fat on it at all. It just looks pathetic, this poor thing. And, at first I was like, because I've done so much rescue, and a lot of people think that we're like these miracle workers. Like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a cat. Okay, everything's going to be okay.
Now I feel better about myself. Now it's your problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is it's not necessarily easy to adopt out these animals or find them homes, especially if it's a black mangy cat.
Yeah.
So I was about to tell her, I'm sorry, ma'am. Can I don't have the space to take in this cat. Can you just bring him to the Humane Society tomorrow? And she's like, I fed it milk, but it looks like it's really hungry. And I'm like, just give me the cat. Just give me the cat. Because she obviously, and it's not her fault. She's probably not a cat person, maybe doesn't know a lot about animals. And what she did was nice. She actually reached out to someone who could help. But cow's milk is very bad for cats.
Yes,
very
it
bad
is.
for cats.
Yeah.
And the cat would definitely have diarrhea, and if it was left out in the elements with the diarrhea and everything, it could get really sick. So I took in the cat,
Mm-hmm.
and we still have him to this day.
Aw.
Yay!
What's the cat's name?
Prince Caspian.
Prince Caspian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The reason why we couldn't adopt him out is because he has some psychological issues. And he's black and
Yeah.
kind of
Poor black cats.
yeah, and he
They're
has
so
a
hard
clipped ear,
Yeah.
which means
They were trapped.
they were trapped
Yeah.
and he was neutered, and so we just kept him.
Okay.
And yeah,
Well, now he's got a loving home,
yeah,
and
he
he's got
does.
brothers and sisters.
He does.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, he does.
All right.
Mhm.
So yeah, we can do a whole nother show on
Animal rescue.
animal rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, wrapping up here.
Oh
and-
my gosh.
Oh my God!
Has
No,
it really
look,
been an hour?
No, it hasn't been. It's been 45 minutes, 46 minutes.
You're right. It did kind of go by
yeah,
quick.
it's just friends
It's
talking.
just yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I like funk. How did you know?
Yeah.
Did you guys pick this song just for me?
It came with the mixer.
I am like such a funk person.
You're funky.
I'm funky.
All right. Well, we were here with Executive Director Antonia McCutcheon and Outreach Coordinator Sergio Velasquez. And I'm John Casimiro.
Casimiro, production manager.
That's me. And thanks for tuning in. And hey, don't forget to follow us if you're watching on YouTube. And don't forget to tune into our TBCN network channels.
Yes. Awesome.